Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at section 2.6, measures of spread. Even though it says 2.7, it is a 2.6. And now we're going to look at, instead of looking at the center of a data set, what we're interested in how spread out the data is. And so one way to think about it is through a visual. So if you can imagine you go to a family reunion, what would the distribution, right, of ages be of those people at a family reunion? And so imagine you select 5 people from each of these populations, right? People attending a family reunion and picking 5 people from the high school marching band. And so here is a possible, right? Where did I get these numbers from? I just kind of hypothesizes that this is what you would see. This is how I would see it. When I go to my family reunion, you end up potentially with people who are young, teenagers, the parents of them, and then the grandparents, right? Or the parents of these of this group here. And so you get this larger distribution. And when we have data like this, we want to measure this spread, right? We want to measure its variance. We want to measure, another term is dispersion, how spread out it is. Versus if you were in a high school marching band, this would be probably its spread. It would be not that much difference from the youngest to the oldest versus in a family reunion. And that's what we're looking at to measure these values. So for example, in this one here, for us to measure these values, these measures of spread, which are called range, standard deviation, and variance, right? Just like we have measures of center, mean, median, and mode, we have this standard deviation, range, and variance. And so I've pre-calculated these values for you from these data sets, these example data sets. And if you plotted these data sets, the family reunion, the band class, on a number line, right, from 0 to 50, 0 to 100, here 50 to 100, you would see the distribution more spread out, the band class all together. And if you notice, one characteristic is that the values are how far they are from the mean, and that's what was important in these calculations here, because that's how we measure standard deviation. It's on average how far from the average are the data values. And so you get a visual of it. You can see a family reunion, you can see a band class, and then you can see how, look at the distributions really close to the mean. So therefore it should have a smaller standard deviations, right? Thinking about what you're observing here, because on average, these values or these data points are, they have a lot more variance. They are farther away from the mean. And in order to understand the behavior of a distribution, the distribution of data, which becomes an essential piece of the class, we want to analyze what we call center and spread. So we talk about measures of center and measures of spread.